Good afternoon. This is Dr. Rich Bernardo, author of the Alchemy to Leadership Simulation in the Alchemy Lab with my buddy behind me, with a video specifically directed to the board president and to the superintendent of schools on the educational leadership team. We've already explained in a couple of different ways on this website what your responsibilities are in terms of running the two groups for which you're responsible and for taking the role of the culture specialist. This particular video, this brief video, was intended to provide you with a quick scenario just to anchor your thinking that much more in our efforts for you to take the role and to enable your colleagues to understand some of the themes about their culture that they may be overlooking because they've been so caught up in the pieces rather than the whole with the W. Where on the other side of the street, you, in fact, do see the whole with a W. You recognize that, the cultural facets, dimensions, levels per Shine, Edgar Schein, that apply either to the world out there community and or to the educational leadership teams, school, district, and building for which they're responsible. And so it's your job to constantly point out to them, I think I'm hearing the theme of, or I think this theme represents a value. Why do you think that value comes from there? How do you see that? Why do you think it's important? Most importantly, what are the assumptions that you think that you perceive that are so hidden that they don't bring them to the fore? It's your job to continue to remind them about that, because in continually reminding them about that, they will be that much more able to squeeze down to a purpose that will embrace those basic themes and assumptions and stay true to them, which is really what you want to see happen, assuming that these themes and assumptions and beliefs are worthwhile. I think we can assume that for the most part. So here is a quick scenario. I apologize to the board president, because as you represent the world out there, team, we'll go with that instead of going with the school explanation instead. Yes, you are in charge of the board policy and of the Board of Education, but you're a community representative. You've lived in this community a long time, and you have strong feelings about how you and the community can contribute to the health and welfare of the children who attend the school district for which you've taken responsibility. And that's no mean task. Now, picture a scenario where that would come to play. A good example would be a quick example, but a good one. And actually, it's a true one I ran into one time. As with the cases of issues that are confronting us right now in any community in the United States, this being the fall of 2020, actually a few days before the election, where the pandemic has not only stricken us from a health point of view, very badly and continuingly, it also took a huge bite out of our economy, out of our job market, out of how we spend money with each other or for each other. And it's a dilemma that we still haven't solved, at least at the time of presenting this video, which means we have to tighten budgets, do without some things that we wouldn't like to do without, and make tough decisions. Not too long ago, I was in a budget meeting where we were confronted with a huge budget cut. State aid was slashed pretty severely, and the superintendent informed us to take X percent, I don't remember the number, out of the budget. And as the superintendent for instruction, there wasn't anything I wanted to take out, not a penny of anything anywhere. If anything, I would take another $1 zillion to make it right. And yet I knew that I had not only was I directed to do it, but also that it was necessary in order for the whole to survive. So I start going down through things that could come off the kidney machine, to use a terrible metaphor. And we got to one point, I forget what the price tag was, but I'm going to make up a number, $250,000. And it might have been around there, for that matter, where there were people putting a lot of pressure on me to take out the alternative high school, eliminate the alternative high school, or find another way to run the alternative high school. And I did not want to do this. The alternative high school uh, was a program that we were using for students who didn't adjust all so well to the so-called day/traditional school. And for the most part, we're doing pretty well in a night program with different educational approaches that were melted with internships. And most of the students were passing the state exams, and the majority of the students are graduating. Believe me, they would not have graduated had they stayed in the day program. And yet I had a lot of pressure to take that out. So as I stood before the audience to tell them the issues I had to consider to make recommendations, someone spoke for me and said, "Oh, well, we hear you're thinking about taking out the alternative high school." And I said, "Yes, it's on the list, but no, I don't endorse that." And that led to a debate that went on for, I forget how long, but it felt like a very long time. Well, finally, the board president kind of slammed the gavel and said, "What I'm hearing is that we really value the alternative high school program. We see how it helps students who don't ordinarily get the attention that they need. In this district, we would never consider hurting those kids when we know this is the best way they're going to graduate." And I wiped my bald brow and I sighed a sense of relief, and we moved on to another topic. Now, that's an example of a value within the district that the board president expressed, not myself, quite frankly, a value. It also represented a belief. Values come from beliefs. Beliefs don't come from values. You remember that as you work with your colleagues, either in the World Out There team or in the educational leadership team, as you seek to point out to them what they're truly saying, what their message is behind the music that they preach at each other, so that they can hear each other about what they're saying and really reconcile a reality that does not violate their beliefs and values.